Happy 30th anniversary WNBA. Today's slate of games was absolutely awesome, and it was really banger after banger, even though the final score, especially for the first game, which was Aces Valks, that may not be an indication of how I felt watching the game, but we'll get into it. Really, really great games in this one tonight. And I think I maybe have to start out with the game of the night. Liberty versus Sparks, the 30th anniversary matchup. First off, I think I gotta start out with the broadcast having and the broadcast, the arena, the atmosphere, the crowd was popping, and they had the legends out there. And you listen to like Erica Wheeler and Neka Glumake talking about having the legends in there. You had Lisa Leslie, you had Delisha Milton Jones, and others out there. Teresa Weatherspoon was there for the broadcasting, and then Lisa Leslie also hopped on the broadcast. And Rebecca Lobo was on the call, and of course, she was a part of the first game. So we had a whole bunch of former players in the arena and enhanced the broadcasting experience and enhanced the overall experience because the players, NECA was emotional talking about how all these players were in here who helped pave the way, helped pave the game, even though maybe their salaries at the time weren't that great. And to see them show out and show support for the 30th anniversary in this game, that was just cool. So that's just something to start out with. But the game itself, it really felt at first like, okay, yeah, the Liberty are just a better team. This is what they do. They have so many great options. They have Stewie, they have JJ, they have Astier. Sabrina is still working herself back in from not playing basketball or not playing that much basketball this so far this season. Satu has been looking better this season, or better as the season has gone along. But it really just looked like, yeah, the Sparks, they're solid, but they don't have the KP magnet going on right now. And they are one of the worst defenses. And the Liberty are a contender, and they have talent on talent on talent. And I thought we really saw that during the bulk of this game, and they were up like, I forget what it was, 16, 17, 18, something like that. But in that second half, we saw the LA Sparks lock in defensively. And we saw Ray Burrell, NECA, Hamvey. They were getting busy out there. Their pickup points were a lot higher. They were guarding like more so 75 feet. So the Liberty, once they were getting a bit more loose with the handle, they were taking advantage of that. They forced the Liberty into giving up the ball more, and we saw that. You see that in the overall turnover numbers as the Liberty had 16 turnovers, meanwhile the Sparks had 9. And of course, the player of the game, and who else should it be but one of the WNBA greats, one of the legends in the association, a future Hall of Famer, Neka Glumake, former Spark, or current Spark, former Spark, Spark legend, basically. But she turned back the clock, had 24 on 11 of 18 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, and took over in the clutch. She was absolutely huge in the clutch, scoring, I think at one point, I think she had 12 of the last 14 clutch points. Or I forget if that was before or after the 3. Either way, though, NECA was looking great. She was running the floor in transition, sprinting down, grabbing O boards, putbacks, basically what NECA has built her career off of doing. And to see her do that, turn back the clock at her, how old is she right now? How old is she? She's 35 right now. To see her do that, still get up for those O boards, 35 years old, putbacks, turn back the clock with her uber efficient performance, and then the clutch 3 to win the game. And Stewie, shout out to Stewie for making this a game so that we could see that epic game winner. Shout out to Stewie for that. But to go to the line and to go 2 for 4, 2 different trips, make one, miss one, or miss one, make one. And the broadcast was bringing up she was an 89% free throw shooter on the year. And she went to the line and missed 2 clutch free throws. And of course, missing one of those on that last possession made it so that it was still a 2-point game. And they were bringing up how Chris DeMarco is a foul up 3 coach so that you won't be able to get the 3-point shot off. You're going to have to go to the line, make the first free throw, miss the second one intentionally, and obviously try to get a bucket in that way. Her missing a free throw there put that all off the table. Anything was on the table, tie or win. And they won the game. And Erica Wheeler, I remember watching it in real time. And the Sports Center, the people on Sports Center also brought it up how, like, when Erica Wheeler was driving and then bringing it back out, we were like, I don't love what you're doing here, Erica Wheeler. I don't love it. I think you just wasted the possession, maybe. But she said in the Sports Center interview, and you see it in the play, that the defenders there, I think it was it JJ and Astier guarding that, both went to Kelsey Plum because of her gravity. They were both reluctant, or in the moment were trying to sell out to KP, who, even if she wasn't having the night that she would have liked to have had, obviously she's still an amazing shooter and you've got to guard her as such. And that left Nneka Glumake open for three. And shout out to NECA, because as the years have gone on and has the 3-point shot has become more important, more prevalent, and as she has aged, she has added that to her shot profile to diversify, to help diversify her game. Because when she came in the league, she averaged zero point 0.2 and didn't start averaging at least one. Well, she averaged zero point 0.8 in 2016, but always been low-ish volume. And then last year shot 4, this year shooting 3, and she's shooting 41% on those threes. So obviously it is low volume, but still, if you're going to be taking those shots, it's great to be able to hit those. And I guess going by percentages, she has always been a good 3-point shooter. But still, though, to make that shot in the high leverage moment of a game in the balance in the 30th anniversary where everyone is watching, the crowd's behind you, you make the shot. Shout out to NECA. Absolutely amazing. And this is interesting because now this makes it 2 straight clutch losses for the New York Liberty. Is the sky falling? No, it's not falling. This stuff can happen in a long season. But of course, I mean, and like I said, Sabrina's still trying to get back to where who she is as a player. But the New York Liberty, they can be got. But on to probably the second best game of the night, we have the Washington Mystics taking a clutch win against the Minnesota Lynx. I think best team in the league record-wise. Before this, they were 13-3, and the Mystics came away and won this one. No, I think I also got to come out and say the Washington Mystics are one of the more interesting, exciting teams to watch in the league. They always are in close games, whether they come out on top or not. They come off of, like I said, a clutch game against the Liberty, and then their first game against the Liberty was also a clutch loss. But they can hang with these good teams. And I think because they are a team that is primarily focused on development, that is the main takeaway, and wins and losses can come and go. However, they also don't even necessarily need to tank because they have a pick swap with the Chicago Sky, and since the Chicago Sky, and since Rickea Jackson tore her ACL, the Chicago Sky have absolutely skidded. They've gone and they've skidded like crazy, and because of that, the Mystics have great odds of getting potentially the number 1 pick in next year's draft. I went on Tankathon, I ran 2 times. Mystics came away with the first pick in those 2 spins. So they don't need to stress. I mean, they never need to stress about wins and losses, but because the Chicago Sky are skidding right now, we just be like, okay, we can develop and try to win. We don't have to do aggressive tanking in this sort of situation. And tonight, we saw great contributions from a Sonia Citron, from a Kiki Iriafin, from a Cody McMahon. And since Kiki has come back, she has made an instant impact, whether it be rebounding, whether it be a low post presence. And I gotta say, Sonia Citron's playmaking and ball handling responsibilities have improved. Playing with a lot more poise, playing with patience. And I was really impressed, especially in the previous game versus the Liberty, where she was very patient with table setting and getting it down to a Kiki Iriafin, and also Georgia Amore. And Georgia Amore, the efficiency, the shooting, the scoring, it's still right now. However, the assist numbers are starting to pile up. But I think overall we're starting to see her gain more confidence and a little bit more poise. And she is still a rookie coming off of an injury. So we give grace. Absolutely. No, and that's not to say that she still isn't flawed as a player, but with her looking a bit more comfortable being that playmaker for this team, with Sonia Citron being more comfortable in ball handling and facilitating while still being a scorer, because especially because in that fourth quarter, Citron had some tough takes and makes in traffic or among defense that was guarding her tight. And while the 3-point shot is not the same as her rookie season, her overall scoring versatility and ability have definitely improved, and she deserves a lot of credit for development in that area. It was also a really interesting game for the Minnesota Lynx because I feel like defensively they certainly had their moments. And you look at the box score, Natasha Howard has 5 steals, Nia Coffey has 2 steals, 4 blocks. Olivia Miles has 2 blocks, including that really clutch stop on Kiki Iriafin as he tried to go up. However, they let this one go away. And Courtney Williams and Kayla McBride didn't have the greatest shooting night, but I was still really surprised that they didn't come away with this one, especially because Olivia Miles and Natasha Howard were looking great in that third quarter. But still, you've got to respect that the Washington Mystics, they have fight, they have grit, they're young, they're hungry, they're not backing down from any challenge, even against the best teams in the league. But it is surprising to see the Minnesota Lynx drop this one. They had that possession in the fourth quarter where they got 3 offensive rebounds and ended up scoring on that possession. And it's funny that rebounding is what came down to bite them in the end because, well, rebounding and then that Olivia Miles and Kayla McBride miscommunication turnover on the inbound when they were still down 1. And then the rebounding off of free throws as I think Amor, went to the line first, missed the first, or made the first, missed the second. Then Kiki got a no board, got fouled, made the first, missed the second. Then Onyenwere grabbed the offensive rebound. It was definitely a mess in terms of late game execution for the Minnesota Lynx. But I think this shows that you've got to respect the Washington Mystics, what they can do. They can be in any given game at any point. Kiki, Sonia, and Shakira are usually going to be there at any given night. So it's just what can you get from the others on any given night? And tonight it was Cody McMahon. She hit a huge 3 down the stretch of this game. She went 4 for 4 from 3 in this one. When she's on, she can give you quite a scoring punch, and it was necessary in this one, 15 off the bench. And lastly, the first game of the night was the Golden State Valkyries versus the Las Vegas Aces. And this one maybe went how you'd expect. However, you watch this game, you watch the first quarter, you're like, okay, this is fine. And the Valkyries, I'd say, only scored 17 in that first quarter, but it was 17-23 at the end of the first. You're like, okay, this is standard stuff that you'd expect from a Valkyries versus the Las Vegas Aces. Then that second quarter hits, and the Las Vegas Aces absolutely punch them in the mouth because at different moments, players get trapped, double teams, extra help, Asia Wilson working. And Asia Wilson, this was an amazing defensive game. And I don't know what the box score says. I have it right in front of me, actually. Let's see what the box score says. Asia Wilson, the box score says 1 steal, 2 blocks. Quite frankly, that stat line does not show how impactful defensively Asia Wilson was in this one. I thought this was one of her best defensive games of the season. The traps, the help, they were on point. The one-on-one defense was great. Sound, ended possessions with those 9 rebounds. Asia Wilson defensively was awesome in this one. And then, of course, she's good for 20 a game. She got 19 this one. Oh, no. Oh, no. Asia Wilson only got 19 points. Crazy. But Jackie Young, also on a heater, 21, 9 of 12. Jewel Lloyd gave you great shooting tonight. 4 for 5 from 3 with 14 points. You'll take that. Chelsea Gray, 15 and 9. Had a really sick behind the back pass to Jackie Young on the cut. Man, it's crazy how Chelsea Gray can make regular table setting passes look really cool. But she can do that. Oh, Nolissa Smith. Nolissa Smith has been really great this season, even better than last year, as just an efficient outlet for mismatches, for play finishing, for offensive rebounds. She had 2 old boards in this one, and let me check her averages. Yeah, Nolissa Smith has been averaging and I think this is probably before this game is added. I'm not sure if it is, maybe, but whatever. She's averaging 12 points on 69.2% from the field while giving you 2 offensive rebounds each game. So she's an uber efficient play finisher, mismatch attacker, and hustling for giving you extra opportunities night in, night out. And it's really cool to see her do that because, at different points she was kind of struggling to figure it out necessarily. But to see her come to a championship contender and be an integral part of what they did last year and this year look better, more refined, uber, uber efficient is really cool to see. And her impact cannot be understated for how, I'm not sure if it's underrated or undervalued, but well, what she does, it needs to be recognized because it's very integral for what the Las Vegas Aces are trying to do in order to win games. And for the Valks, this is really a showcase of what the playoff concerns are for this team because their best 2 players are Gabby Williams and Veronica Burton. But Veronica Burton, as a scorer, especially as a 2-point scorer, leaves a lot to be desired. People joke around. It's like Veronica Burton, if halfback dive doesn't work, then it's kind of scary. Um, and it is kind of scary because I think a lot of her scoring necessitates that 3 ball being able to fall at a very good clip. And tonight she only had 2 points on 1 for 5 shooting, 0 for 3 from 3. Only played 16 minutes in this one. That's your star or starting point guard, and maybe because Veronica Burton is a very good point guard, and the shots aren't always the indication for how good she is in a game. However, the Golden State Valkyries as a team need really good scoring, shot creation, and playmaking opportunities. And Kia Stokes only had 2 points, and scoring isn't necessarily her game. Kayla Thornton only had 2. So 3 of your 5 starters had 2 points in this game. That is never a winning opportunity. And while Janelle Salon and Cecilia Zandalasini are tough shot takers and makers, they can go on heaters. However, I'm not sure if that's the type of offense you would like to rely on come playoff time, where they are going to live off of a tough shot diet. And while, yes, they can make them, you're also playing that the defense is generally going to be defending them well. So it's basically just going to come down to a make or miss league with them. Gabby Williams is a good slasher, creator, and secondary playmaker for this team, and she has been having a career year with the Valks. However, she still probably isn't at the level of creator that the Valks need in order for them to go on a deep playoff run. So I think in this one, we really saw the Las Vegas Aces put some pressure on the Valkyries. And I think this is also encouraging for the Las Vegas Aces because defense has been the main issue, the elephant in the room for them this season. They've been in really tight games because they have not so great defense. They got blown out in the Dallas Wings game, and the Dallas Wings are a prolific offense, so it's not like they got blown out by a mid offense or a bad offense like the Connecticut Sun or something like that. However, different moments so far in this season, you see their lack of defense is keeping other teams in games or allowing teams to get back in games. And to see just straight out the first half, the Las Vegas Aces said, none of that. None of that. We're going to shut you out. You're not going to have a chance in this one. That's an encouraging sign, especially as the season goes along. You want to see them get into a rhythm and find some stuff defensively. And I'm not sure how often they're going to throw these traps into different matchups versus these teams over the course of this season. But the usage of it in this game was absolutely great. And overall, even if the final score wasn't close, to see that blitz in the first half where the Aces weren't kidding around, it was really cool to see. So overall, the 30th anniversary games for the WNBA, they did not disappoint. They hit the mark. They lived up to the hype, especially the Sparks and Liberty game. You know the shot for Neko Agumake is going to end up on a whole bunch of her career retrospective highlight reels. Probably going to be in her eventual Hall of Fame introduction video. And this was a great celebration for the 30th anniversary. 30 years of the WNBA and all its great legends, its history. Here's for 30 more.